inspire, empower. Grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, 'cause real women don't bitch. No, real women don't. 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 Real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. I know you've heard the question before, how bad do you want it? Ladies, today I want to just air some of my dirty laundry, as they would say, because I got challenged. I got challenged about how bad I really want my dream to come to fruition. And something that I said came back and slapped me dead in the face. And what I want to know for you is, what personal issues, what noble truths do you say that you live by that may come back and do the same thing for you? We want success, right? We want to go through this entrepreneurial journey. We want to slay all of our goals. We want success out the wazoo. And some of us think that we can cheat the system. And by cheat the system, I mean, you think that you can grow technically, but not relationship wise, not practically, and still have a properly functioning business. And we see this all the time, right? Even just like, let's go into industries like entertainment. We see these people with these phenomenal gifts and talents and skills, and then every time we turn around, they're on TMZ because they're in hostile situations, abusive relationships, addicted to drugs and stuff like that. And that makes me think about, how people throw around the phrase, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose their soul? And it's easy to look at it when it's blatant and it's in your face and it's involving drugs or it's involving abuse. And you'll hear a lot of people talk about how they don't even need a lot of money to be successful because they don't want their lives to look like that. But those people's lives don't look like that because they have a lot of money. It's because they push so doggone hard that even though they weren't okay, they weren't sound spiritually and emotionally, they pushed so hard to get the dream that success still had to yield to them, but they were so damaged, and all of that stuff would eventually have to resurface and come back to haunt them. And that's just real. And so there's something that I've said a lot of times. And for those of you that have followed me for a while, I've made the comment that we as women have to continue to make sure that we're healing. And we don't want to start working in industries like coaching and transformational healing prematurely, because if we haven't dealt with our ish, then we become collateral damage for other women. And I've said those words and they just rolled off my tongue, and I've went on about my business and not thought 2 seconds about it. But there's this one sister that was in my life that when I clicked with her, I mean, it was like magic. I couldn't believe it, how we were just so in sync and so much alike. I even used to look at our pictures sometimes and think to myself, we kind of look alike, and that was a good thing. It wasn't a problem, but I was just like, wow, this is like freaking crazy. Like we taken out of hospitals and moved to different sides of the country or what. But some things happened with me, and she did some things, and I didn't like them. I didn't like what she did. And even though I'm typically a candid person and I have very good conversations with people and I like to address issues, what I did is I just kind of ghosted her. I ghosted her and I was like, you know what, it's for my benefit, not to fuck with her. And my brain and my mind just began to continue to produce a narrative centered around why it was good that I didn't mess with her anymore, because, she was fake and I didn't need to be around that kind of person, because how dare she hurt me like that. But you want to know what was so crazy is that my heart and my soul would not be totally free with that. And I would find myself warring with the fact that I really still love this woman. And I really, really cared about her and her success. And there's some things that she had did in my life, and I felt indebted to her, because there are places that I wouldn't be in my life right now had we not been involved with each other. But nevertheless, I stopped talking to her. I stopped being involved with her, and I felt so justified in it. And I never gave her a chance to apologize or say she was wrong or she didn't mean to do what she did. That was such a strong offense to me. And I left it there. Well, you guys, a lot of you know that my grandmother passed recently. And when my grandmother passed, I came head on in contact with, some beliefs that I had and some really, really ugly emotions. And I remember I used to always feel like my family wasn't even going to tell me when my grandmother died. And because of that, I got into like a huge confrontational conversation with an aunt of mine. And she's like, I'm going to make sure I let you know when Granny's sick and, you won't be left out. Well, as the clock ticked and time passed on, I eventually went down to St. Louis and created a week worth of memories with my grandmother and had peace. And when my grandmother did actually pass, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be at that funeral anyway, because I don't want to be in the midst of people that I know don't really want me there. I didn't want to distort my last memory of my grandmother by being in an atmosphere where I knew that I was going to end up being offended. And just to kind of, this is going somewhere, you guys know it's going somewhere, but just to kind of like help you out. Like, for instance, when my grandfather passed, everybody, in the family, the immediate sons, daughters, grandchildren, and great grandchildren all wore white and turquoise in honor of my grandfather. I'm the oldest grandchild, but I wasn't notified of this, this wardrobe thing. And so me and my kids, we were there in our own attire. But even my cousin, who came all the way in from Houston, him, his wife, and his children, they were coordinated. And I'm like, damn, I always got left out of some of the most small things, but still that showed family unity. And I didn't even want to get a glimpse of what that was going to look like, with my grandmother. And so one of the things that my family's had a habit of doing, and they'll deny it, is like really, really bragging on me from a vantage point that makes them look at this niece that I raised. Look at this, my daughter or whatever. But as far as like really, truly celebrating me, reaching out to me, knowing about who I am, knowing what I'm doing, they never really did that. They don't even really know what's going on with me for real. Like I got one aunt that kept on telling people I'm a life coach. And it's like, that just shows how long it's been since you've talked to me, because I've spent over almost 3 years now working heavily as a business coach, and over 2.5 years working very strongly with even more promoting my skills as a phenomenal sales strategist. And so anyway, just all of these emotions came up for me, and out of nowhere, I just got angry, and I was like, I don't want to go around them fake ass people and be there for my grandmother's funeral, yada, yada, yada. They don't really want me there. And I had to go through and I had to calm down and find peace and like, no, what's my true north? What's really going on? What matters to me? And when I realized what mattered to me was that I just wanted to honor my grandmother in a way that I knew that she would accept. And so some of you that follow me on social media, that I didn't go back to St. Louis to be at her funeral. And there's a bunch of other reasons why too. But the main one was because I was at peace. And I believe that my grandmother's spirit was at peace too. But what happened to me was that I was like, dang it, girl, why you get so pissed off? And I was like, ooh, you know how we think we've healed from something, but then all it takes is for an incident to occur for us to then say, ouch, you know what? I still got some residue from that stuff in my heart and it's really bothering me. And I had to come to terms with the fact that there were some things concerning my family that were laying dormant and I needed to flush them out of my system so that I could be at peace. But then I realized something. That subconsciously, this woman that I hadn't talked to, I threw her in a category just like my family. There was something that she did where I felt like she was being just like them, bragging on me in open areas, and when it made her look good and stealing the spotlight from me, stealing, my opportunity to shine. And she hurt me. And instead of saying, hey, when you did that, I didn't like that, I just completely disconnected from her. But what I couldn't deny was the fact that something in my soul, it didn't feel that same way about her. And this is someone who's always celebrated me in business and has always been an avid supporter. Well, the fact that all of this stuff rose up in me while I was going and beginning to get stuff together for my summit, connecting with all of these other women, other memories were in association with her because of all of these things that I had going on. And I realized that I needed to reach out to her. I needed to reach out to her and apologize and let her know that I loved her, explain to her why I was hurt, subconsciously and consciously what was going on in my mind, and then pray that she would accept my apology and that we could restore our relationship. No special strings attached or anything, but just allow nature to take its course. And as we talked on the phone and got highly emotional and cried together, and she just let me know how much that she loved me and she respected me and my integrity in business, and how she was pissed because she didn't know what she had done, but she did understand where I was coming from. But there's so many people, that she liked to refer to me. But, it was just this weird place between us. That conversation, while there was healing that needed to be in that relationship, I'm sharing this with you all because coaching is an industry that will definitely make you see yourself. When you work with women that deal with a bunch of baggage, a lack of healing, when you do mindset work, you can't just do it and always be the guru and not be leveling up and having to practice the very same things that you preach. And I realized, and I was even talking to her on the phone. Matter of fact, I talked to her. This is not a pre-recorded summit. This is one that, like weeks ahead in advance. I'm like recording this on February the 19th. This is coming out tomorrow. I'm like, I gotta, move things around. But in the conversation with her, I was like, as women who are building other women up, it is important for us to continuously go back and check ourselves and to check what we've done and how we feel. LOL, I didn't even turn off my notifications off of stuff. Excuse me, you guys. Because we have to level up. To whom much is given, as much is required. We have to level up. We have to boss up, and we have to make sure that we're going and growing, because in order to get to that next phase, we have to be in a position where we're worthy of leading those people. Because if we don't, and if we force success to come upon us, we're going to prematurely be involved with people that we may hurt, that we may be damaged for. And I was just explaining to her that I just felt so good as I felt this layer of negative disassociation with people and circumstances, how I got past it so that now I can be able to serve another degree, another caliber of woman, and do it with integrity and do it with purpose. Your relationships, no matter how much you want to think that they're isolated with people that you're related to, people that you've had long-term friendships with. There's a direct correlation with the way that you're going to behave with people, especially if you're building a business online. You have to open up yourself to so many risks and to trust people where, you know what, their integrity may not always be crystal clear to you. And so being in line with your core values, knowing what you stand for, and really being able to test and challenge the hearts of people, as well as being patient to cultivate relationships through the good, and the indifferent and the ugly, but just really being open to doing that. There's a direct correlation between that and you going to your next level in business. Whether you like to say it this way or not, your business, when you do the kind of work that we do, it is a ministry. It is a calling, and you have to be mature enough in order to go to the next level. I'm reading this book right now, and it's called Yamas and Nayamas. And one of the things that they talk about, there's all of these, yogic principles, and one of them is non-stealing. And I remember the lady saying in the book that one of the definitions of stealing is desiring something before your competency. And I read that and I looked and I was like, whoa, wouch, desiring something before your competency. And you know what? I want to change the world. I want to change the lives of so many women. But I have to constantly and continuously be changing my own life first. And I just want you all to know, whatever level of forgiveness that you need to practice, whatever layer of anger that you need to peel back that onion on so that you can heal, I'm telling you, there's a direct correlation between that and your growth. Entrepreneurship is a never-ending journey to perfect the art of building effective, positive, loving, caring, intentional relationships. So I would just encourage all of you to see, what is your current circumstance revealing about you? What little thoughts pop up in your mind that you dismiss? Because this woman has popped up in my mind periodically now. And I just want you all to know that it's literally been about a year since we had last communicated. But it was one of the most refreshing things that I had experienced recently. So yeah, today really is about you paying attention to having a heart of forgiveness, a heart of discernment, and just really looking at that personal level of growth that you need for you. And I'll just leave it at that. I won't even try to, this is kind of like a piece of artwork. You look at it and you take from it the interpretation that the Spirit has given to you. And I'm going to leave that there. You guys, whenever you're listening to this, you have a blessed day, evening, afternoon, weekday, weekend, whatever it is. But let's progress together. Let's get to that next level. All right. I love you guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in